This is the all-new Hyundai IONIQ 9, and we are testing pre-production prototype versions. They say they're almost complete. There might be subtle changes, but this will give us a good idea of how this car feels on the road. We've got a high-speed loop, and we've got a twisty sort of road. It should be really interesting. So let's do it. So we're in Mojave at Hyundai's Californian Proving Ground, and first impressions, this is very quiet and probably more quiet than a lot of EVs I've been in, which is very impressive given there's a windstorm coming in. They actually had to turn the power off for pretty much the whole of Mojave because, you know, they worry about fires and things like that. So they've turned all the power off here and they're running everything from V2L from vehicles like this. And even with that wind, it's very quiet in here. And the reason for that is triple door seals. They've got new tires that basically absorb a lot of road noise. So I can hear a little bit of wind noise, but there's not a lot of road noise. The windows are all acoustically laminated, plus there's a lot of sound deadening equipment all through the body, and it feels more like a Mercedes than a Hyundai. It's super quiet, it's impressive. Now, Hyundai hasn't told us how heavy this car is, which is important because I'm now on the twisty section and I'm pumping it through corners and it's sitting very, very flat. There's not a lot of body roll, which is impressive because this thing could be 2.5, 2.7 tons and you'd expect it to have a bit of lean and a bit of wallow through corners, but the way it moves around is surprisingly good. It feels light on its feet. And that's doubly impressive given it doesn't have adaptive suspension or anything like that. These are passive shock absorbers. The steering is pretty vague and super light like most EVs, but you know, that's not a bad thing because for the most part, 95% of this car's life is going to be spent around town, in the city, you know, dropping the kids off to school, all this sort of stuff. And for that, it's perfect. It's super light. It's really easy to maneuver. And yeah, I think it's a good setup. It's fit for purpose. Ride comfort is remarkably good as well for something that is so big and heavy, but also has quite big wheels. This one's on 21-inch rims. And so, yeah, it's got a pretty balanced feel. It goes well through corners, but is also very smooth and supple. The sense from the driver's seat is positive. I'm sitting very high off the road. You've got that commanding view, which is great. And because it's an EV, there's no engine up the front and they've shortened the bonnet or the hood. So it's much shorter than usual. It's much easier to see over. But yeah, you're still really high off the road. So it's a nice combination. The windows are all quite large. The only thing is the rear window. That is a little bit tight and there's some big blind spots at the rear there. But overall vision, lines of sight, excellent. All right, power levels, foot to the floor, and that's pretty crummy. That's because I'm not in sport mode. Let's chuck it in sport mode. I was in eco. So this one's running, this is the top spec performance model, all-wheel drive. You've got two motors, 160 kilowatts each, so a total of 320 kilowatts. And okay, that's pretty good. 320 kilowatts and 700 Newton meters. It shuffles. Again, I wish I knew how heavy this was because, you know, if it is getting close to 3 tons, this thing is quick. But look, there is nothing slow about this vehicle. It gets up and boogies. We had it on the large oval earlier, which simulates highway driving, and I was sitting at 160 kilometers an hour, 100 miles an hour, and it was just absolutely fine. And it was interesting. We had really strong crosswinds, but the car has a special system that sort of helps deal with that. This one can also tow 2,500 kilograms, none too shabby. And overall, it doesn't boggle the mind with too many screens or too many features. It just feels like all the technology is embedded really nicely into this vehicle, and it's very easygoing to drive. So that is the IONIQ 9 in a nutshell. It's quite impressive, but we still want to know a few things. We want to know how heavy it is. We want to know how much it's going to cost. But it's coming to Australia in early 2025, and we're very excited to spend more time in it. Hope you liked the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe and leave a comment. What do you reckon? Is this something that you would buy for your family?